if you're not relying on your phones or whatever optic system you're using that can help you with that, I would, you know, plan ahead, not do a I'm going to go out one day and hunt situation. It's a
Hmm.
go out and understand the terrain, the mountains, and everything, and get a feel for how the wind is out there
Hmm.
on a day-to-day basis, so that when you do decide, hey, today's the day, you're ready and you
Hmm.
have a little bit more experience.
You guys are getting really good at answering questions. No, that's it. Get out of the damn truck. Like,
Out of the damn
Get
truck.
out of the truck.
start building your
That should be
experience.
the
Like,
name of this episode. Get
un-
out of the damn truck.
These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. The Six Ranch Podcast is brought to you by SIG Sauer. SIG is a leading provider and manufacturer of firearms, electro-optics, ammunition, air guns, and suppressors. For over 250 years, SIG Sauer Inc. has evolved and thrived by blending American ingenuity, German engineering, and Swiss precision. Today, SIG Sauer is synonymous with industry-leading quality and innovation, which has made it the brand of choice amongst the U.S. military, the global defense community, law enforcement, competitive shooters, hunters, and responsible citizens. SIG Sauer is also a premier provider of elite firearms instruction and tactical training at the SIG Sauer Academy located in New Hampshire. For more information about SIG Sauer and its complete line of products, visit sigsauer.com. Welcome to the show. Aisling,
What's up?
how do you spell your name?
Aisling.
Why is your name spelled like that?
'Cause my parents don't like me. No, I'm kidding. It's Irish.
How Irish?
Very Irish.
Extremely Irish.
Super Irish.
What are some characteristics that we can use to identify an Irish person, like in the wild?
Okay. In the wild. Definitely. Freckles.
Mm-hmm.
Very fair skin.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're fair skin and they're in the wild, probably sunburn.
Okay.
And the ears.
What about the ears?
It's the Irish ears.
What are Irish ears?
So they stick out. They're definitely uneven, for sure. Some are satellite dishes, some are smaller and they just like fold down. Mine, I put a hat on and they stick way out. For this event we're at, Hunter Games, I put my Hunter Games hat on and my fiance was like, take that off and don't wear it.
You're about to get married.
Yes, I am.
That's cool.
18 days.
Caitlin,
Hi.
who are you?
Caitlin Ferdyn.
Okay. Tell me more.
I am with SIG Sauer. I'm part of the events team. And we are here in beautiful Evanston, Wyoming,
Very
for
beautiful.
the SIG Hunter Games.
I wouldn't go so far as to call Evanston beautiful.
Mm.
However, here in the Uinta Mountains, Queen Mountain Ranch, this place is beautiful. But Evanston, Wyoming, you know, it's Wyoming.
Well, where Queen Mountain Ranch is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful.
It is. This is a really pretty spot.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of wildlife. You guys saw some wildlife tonight.
Yes, we saw a lot of wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin saw her first moose,
Yep.
and we're from New Hampshire.
Raised in New Hampshire, and I saw my first moose today.
Cool.
So that's on. I very excited.
Yep, we saw a lot. It was really
Mhm.
cool. Some elk, bull elk,
Mule deer.
mule deer with the big old ears.
Mm-hmm.
Very cute. It was awesome.
Nice. Well, we are here on this podcast, this episode, to answer some questions that folks have submitted, and they're looking for some hunting advice. So, starting out, Plan B Outfitters has asked, how do you find giant bucks/bulls without getting out of the truck?
Yeah, I mean, I think the solid answer to that question is you just have to get out of the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to commit to hunting, You have to get out of the truck.
Might have to walk somewhere at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of the experience.
Yeah, you can't do it from the truck.
Mm-hmm.
It's the lazy man's way.
Yeah. Well, Plan B, there's some shifty characters for sure. I know those guys. Caitlin,
Yes.
what are your strategies for stalking and moving on mule deer in the high country?
So my strategy is, because we just saw some today, really that almost came right up to the truck we were in. I mean, I talk to them like I talk to my dog. Not gonna lie. I was like, hey.
Did you like raise an octave in your voice?
Oh,
Like a
100%.
little cutesy.
Oh,
little voice?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I don't mean to, but it just happens.
Yeah.
I do. And you talk to them, engage, build that trust.
Get to know them.
Yeah.
Okay. Aisling, let's say you're in the high country. How are you going to stalk a mule deer?
I have quite a different approach.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Kruger approach.
The
Kruger.
Kruger?
The cougar approach.
There you go.
And I'm very young, so I'm not like an old lady type. I just mean the animal. And I'm going to climb up into the trees. I want to follow them. I'm going to sniff them out with my Irish nose.
Downwind.
Matches the Irish ears.
Okay.
And I'm just going to stalk them quietly.
How do you manage to stay quiet?
You just don't move. It's practice. It's a skill. It's not for everyone.
Sure.
It takes a lot of training. You know, it's like training for Ninja Warrior.
Have you done that?
I haven't, but I've been doing a lot of training for it.
You have.
I probably am planning to do it in 2025.
You think it'll still be on?
Absolutely. Do you watch it? I watch it religiously.
Do you?
Yeah.
So, Ninja Warrior, quiet, like a Kruger, through the
Stalking.
trees, sniffing them down.
Yeah.
And then once you get close, what happens?
I just jump and attack.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty aggressive. So,
It's an aggressive world.
Folks can try that out.
Yeah.
You can try the
But it takes training. I
Kru-
wouldn't
the
try it out
Kruger
just
approach.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How long do you sit in one spot in glass before moving on?
I'm not a sit still kind of person, so I'll let you take that one because we all know that. I'm like right now. I'm like,
I mean, I would say two things. It's either when your beer gets empty or your butt gets numb. Then it's time to move on.
that's solid.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty good.
yeah.
I think that that instead of making a big movement, sometimes it's good if you feel like you're in a good spot and there's something to see. Maybe just move a little ways. You get a slightly different angle.
Yeah.
And then try again.
And maybe you just give up and then you just watch the sunset.
A lot of people do that. A lot
Yeah.
of hunters like to take sunset photos.
Yeah. Maybe
The
that's all you
suns-
catch.
The sunset this evening was Aisling got some fantastic photos and an amazing time lapse
Yeah.
of the sunset.
You are on your way to becoming a hunter if you're willing to take pictures of the sunset with a cell phone.
Yep.
How do you hunt in the hordes of archery hunters and still be successful?
See, I feel like you would like.
Archery hunting?
I feel like you'd like archery
Yeah.
because you like knives.
Yeah. Archery hunting is quite a commitment.
I've always wanted to try archery. It's very intriguing to me.
I think you should.
I have not tried it, but it's definitely
We'll try it this
something.
weekend.
I think we should.
Yeah. What about a crossbow?
I am actually interested in hunting with a crossbow.
Is that like a seasonal thing?
It is. A lot of states don't allow them at all.
That would be interesting.
But no, I would totally hunt with a crossbow. I think
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Why don't states allow it?
Some states don't think that it's fair because you don't have to draw a crossbow. It's already cocked. So it's more like a rifle. And then people don't understand what a crossbow's capabilities are. Like I talked to a guy who
was actually a wildlife commissioner for the state of Oregon, which does not allow crossbows, even for people who are disabled, which is bogus. But I was like, what's the deal with that? And he said, well, they shoot the same speed and distance as a rifle. So a lot of rifles shoot 3,000 feet per second. Crossbows shoot under 400 feet per second. So that guy was like completely wrong. And he was the guy that was making decisions about it. So I think people watch movies and they get it jacked up in their head. Crossbows have been around since the 1400s. It's not like it's new technology.
They don't educate themselves
it's just,
on... But it's still...
just bunk.
Typical.
Because what I've been learning from hunting is that it's all about the ethical kill. And,
ethics are critical, yeah.
But that would still be an ethical
Yeah, absolutely.
kill, right?
Yeah. Crossbows kill quickly and effectively. They're accurate. You can use a BDX scope to help you with that accuracy. So the BDX scopes have a crossbow setting on them to help you with that. Mm-hmm. It's pretty punk rock. I haven't used that, but I want to, and I totally would. Okay, how do we go about changing the culture in Oregon or other places to be more accepting of hunting?
That is a really good question.
I feel like you guys can actually answer this one seriously.
Yeah, no, that is actually a really good question. I think, honestly, one part of it would have to be, and this is pretty deep, but talking more to the quality of the meat. My future father-in-law went out to Colorado last year and hunted an elk and shipped all the meat back, and it has one of the greatest meat I've ever eaten in my life. Mm-hmm. And like the quality of it, how healthy and clean and good it is. And our tour today, how Ted was telling us they only harvest 1% of the animals on 100,000 acres per year.
Probably less than 1%.
Yeah. He said a max of 1% each year. And just an understanding, that it's helping with the population control and everything like that. Like it actually is a benefit, and it's not just like going out and I think understanding the tagging system and the lotteries and all of that. I mean, I totally understand all of that, and I think that is clean and it's easy to understand, and I understand the values and the ethics in it, and I think that's what people need to understand more of. Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think and also the stigma behind it, and again, people not educating themselves.
Correct.
I mean, they're fine. You're fine with, going to the store, buying this meat that has pumped with chemicals and preservatives and fillers, which are terrible. But then it's like, again, you can go and you can focus on the quality of the meat and, again, what you're putting into your body.
I would also say this from an outsider's perspective is the constant photos of people posting yourself with the kill, like right after. I get it's such a proud moment. And it's like, I did this. Especially, the hunt, the tracking, all of that is very time consuming and everything. And it's such a reward. But that's all people see. Mm-hmm. And they don't see anything that comes after that, or what that means to, that species and everything like that. And if maybe the description of that photo explained it, or there were other photos that talked about it, that might help explain the whole hunting market and why people do what they do. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say.
The video series that I put on the SIG Sauer Hunting Instagram page from my bear hunt this spring, I showed everything except for a picture of me right after I shot the bear.
Yeah.
So we had the trip in, the entire hunt. We had, spotting the bear, the shot getting fired, and then the next thing that we showed was me taking care of the bear hide when we were back at camp.
Yeah.
And, taking the flesh off of it and rubbing salt in it so we could preserve it. I'm going to make a rug out of it for my nephew. He's 2.5 years old. I think he's going to be stoked.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and showing that not like no piece of it of the carcass goes to waste, even if there's parts that are left behind, but explain like those parts are either to feed other, animals,
Yeah.
or they're absorbed
Something's
into,
gonna eat it.
or something's absorbed into the earth and things like that. So I think that telling all that story is super important, and it would really help.
I agree. More education around the process
The process
of it. Even today, again, when we went with Ted, he was talking about how there are cougars in the area and how they do their best to.
I believe it's pronounced Kruger.
Kruger. You're
Kruger.
right. It is Kruger.
Kruger.
There's a lot of Krugers in the area. Not a lot, but there's some that come onto this property, and this is kind of like how we got onto this conversation with him, because he was saying how, just like farmers, they care so much about the animals that are living on this land, and they want to protect them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
No one cares more.
Yeah, and he basically said we're basically farmers.
Yeah.
Hunters are, so.
Yeah. It's true. In a way, in a manner of speaking. Okay, this next one's going to be tough. What is your optimal arrow setup for elk?
Straight, unless I'm Angelina Jolie, then I'll throw a little curve on it.
You'll curve the arrow
Yeah.
in case the elk hides behind a tree.
Exactly.
And then you
gotta
just,
get it.
do you kind of twist the bow as you fire to get the arrow to curve?
No, I have like a separate set of arrows that are curved,
Okay,
and I just pick that one.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that would work out. Anything that you would like to add besides having both straight and curved arrows?
I mean, I think even with the straight arrow, kind of like a curved ball, like how you throw like a curve ball.
Yeah.
I think you can do that with the arrow.
Yeah, I do like an arrow that spins well in flight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tends to stabilize quickly and fly a little bit straighter. So,
And I think the color of the feathers makes a huge difference.
what colors do you pick?
White. They have to be white.
All of them?
Yep.
Why is that?
Just
You like them white.
confirms the kill. Anything else, it's distracting, distracts me, distracts the bow, and it distracts the animal.
So you want to see those white turn red. I get it.
Yeah.
There's value in that.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. It's nice to be able to see what color the blood is so you know where that arrow hit.
Exactly.
Is it pink and foamy? Is it dark and red? Tells you a lot.
Does.
So, my arrow is a very straight Easton FMJ that weighs 650 grains with a single bevel, single blade broadhead, and 4 vanes with a 3-degree offset. All of this is important.
Very specific.
Okay, how does e-scouting for deer differ from e-scouting for elk? In e-scouting is like when you're looking at Google Earth or something like that. You're using the internet to scout for these animals. So how does it differ from deer versus elk?
I mean, I'm just thinking where we live. I mean, it's probably based on where you're hunting, where you're going, because New Hampshire, the Northeast, we really don't have elk, but here they have elk and they have mule deer. So I think it depends on your location and what you are looking for and what you are specifically looking to hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, the topography.
So,
So here on this ranch,
yeah.
the elk are a lot higher up, and that's where you're going to be looking, as opposed to the deer are a lot lower, more closer to the sagebrush, everything like that. So
Okay. That makes sense. So, step 1, if you're e-scouting for elk, don't look for them in New Hampshire.
Definitely not.
I mean, you could, if you found one, you'd be a hero, and you'd be discovering something new.
And you might still have fun and discover beautiful New Hampshire in the process.
Sure.
That's true. That's great.
Yeah, don't not look just because they say they're not there.
Yeah.
Do you have any still hunting strategies for black-tailed deer?
Still hunting.
Yeah, that's where you move very slowly.
Yeah,
You're good at that.
yeah.
Because, you'd like to be up in the trees.
I do like to be up in the trees, but sometimes, when you throw the back out or something like that, you got to stay low. I would, you just got to be quiet. It's rule number one. You got to be quiet. But I would just get a very good lawn chair, probably the one that reclines, and relax and be very quiet. No listening to music. Leave your Bluetooth speaker at home. No podcasts. No offense.
You're pretty stealthy, though.
I am.
You're very quiet when you want to be.
Yeah, for a tall, lanky girl who has no control of her limbs
And Irish ears.
and Irish ears, I can be very, sneaky.
You are very stealthy.
Yeah.
It's not hard to scare me, but you
I
have
think
scared
that,
me
honestly,
a number of
in all
times.
honesty, I think you just have to know what your target is. And you have to look at what the terrain is, and you have to know where you're going to step, and you have to know what you're going to hide behind, and you have to have a plan. And you have to know what the end game is.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to flip this question around. Do you know a lot of hunters that don't go out with a plan in their head? Like they have this plan, whether it's like, we're going to go on this trail, or this is what we're looking for, or based on the weather, this is what we're going to do today. Do you know anyone that's just like, you know what, today we're going to go out and we're going to wing it and see what happens?
Patrick is a winger.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
See that?
Yeah. Patrick will just walk forever until the hunting season is over.
Well, he has enough energy.
He has an excess of energy.
From all the coffee that he drinks.
And he enjoys pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. He likes...
It's weird.
Because he works with us, so.
No, I think it's just weird. I think it's just a weird thing. But
Okay,
that's
Patrick
fine.
aside.
Mm-hmm. Patrick aside, no. People have a plan. But a lot of times their plan doesn't work out. And these questions that people are asking is about developing a plan. How can you develop a better plan? How can you predict what's going to happen?
Like,
But I think in this sense, if you go out there and you are, you have this plan and you get out there and it falls to crap, and you take physically 3 steps back and reassess.
mm-hmm.
Take a minute and reassess. Because at the end of the day, no offense, these animals are just out there doing their thing. And my number one rule, as long as you're quiet, you can take that time to reassess your plan and, reevaluate where you're going to go, what you're going to do, and go from there.
You don't have to rush into it. You don't have to be like, this isn't working. Like event planning, right? Like
Gotta
we
be
do.
flexible.
Gotta be flexible.
You
Shit
gotta be.
happens.
Yeah.
And you know what? No matter how hard you plan, something
And sometimes,
inevitably comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to pivot, adjust your plan.
Yep. Calm, cool, collected. Works
Oddly enough,
99% of the
Oddly
time.
enough, I feel like neither of you know what a black-tailed deer is, and neither of you know what still hunting is, but you just gave some really solid advice for that question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
really.
from what we do for.
Yeah, that was great
Right. I figured a black-tailed deer is the opposite
I
of the
mean-
white-tail.
What we do.
in some ways. Yeah,
I feel like both hunting and event planning, it takes a lot of patience, which maybe sometimes you don't have, and I know
I
it's
don't
tough.
have any patience.
Um,
Again, I'm Irish.
And you have to learn to pivot and think on your feet, and just know it's going to keep you on your toes. But that's why hunters love what they do, and why we love what we do.
yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on the 28 Nosler? It's a rifle cartridge.
Yes. I've seen that.
Have you?
I have.
What do you think about it?
I think it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I think SIG's better.
I mean, we're biased, right?
Yeah.
We always think SIG is better.
Mm-hmm. It's a good cartridge, for sure.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit more gun than what most people need
Right.
for their abilities.
Yeah. You don't need to be running out there with a 50 cal.
All right. Some dude said, "Where are the big high country bucks in the Minum unit?" We're not going to answer that. That's not a polite question to ask. You don't ask where are the big animals.
Yeah.
Because
you're-
you need to do your research, and you need
Yeah.
to
Sorry, homie.
If you're gonna,
hunt.
if
You need to do that
think
yourself.
you deserve to hunt a big animal,
He needs to get up in the treetops.
Yeah.
Start Krugering around.
get out of your truck.
put the work in.
Out of your truck.
Yep. They're not in your truck.
Oh, they're not?
Okay. So what are some strategies for hunting elk when they get quiet because there's wolves around?
Oh yeah, I love wolves. They're so cute.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, except when they're not. I mean, you gotta definitely watch your six. Rule number one. Also being quiet, which is rule number one. Rule number 1A, rule number 1B.
Okay.
But watching your six, because those wolves are sneaky bastard babies. Autocorrect. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a competition. It's a competition.
It is. And that's our relationship with predators.
Yeah.
They are competitors. We're after the same resource. So I think people get a little bit spoiled by elk because there are times a year when they bugle and when they cow call and they can locate themselves verbally. But if there's a bunch of wolves around, it's not in elk's best interest to spend all day going, hey, I'm over here. Hey, I'm over here.
Right.
So if they get like that, just understand you've hunted all of the other animals that don't make noise. So just treat the elk like one of those animals.
Good point.
Yeah.
I was going to say that same thing.
Don't be privileged.
Yeah.
All right.
Use your instincts.
Jaden Bales asked us to lay down some wind wisdom. Please and thank you. Any advice on using or understanding the wind?
Yeah. So unfortunately, we have all become a generation of our phones. And so we have the apps and it will tell you everything, or even now, SIG, thank you for our beautiful BDX system that can help you determine all the wind measurements and everything you need, which is a great tool we have. But sometimes you just want to go old school and not have that. And it's the finger lick to the sky.
Okay.
That's what you got to do.
I think it's understanding. All right, my opinion only. If you're going to go out and hunt, and this is like your thing, and this is what you want to do, at some point you need to go out and understand how Mother Nature works.
Yeah, I would say, in all honesty, for this one, that if you're not relying on your phones or whatever optic system you're using that can help you with that, I would, plan ahead, not do I'm going to go out one day and hunt situation, and to go out and understand the terrain, the mountains and everything, and get a feel for how the wind is out there on a day-to-day basis, so that when you do decide, hey, today's the day, you're ready and you have a little bit more experience.
You guys are getting really good at answering questions. No, that's it. Get out of the damn truck.
Out of the damn truck.
Get out of the truck.
Start building your experience.
That should be the name of this episode. Get out of the damn truck.
Because let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You go out hunting, right? You have your good days, you have your bad days. The bad days when you don't get what you want to get. Do you always walk away learning something?
I should. There are times where a bad attitude will prevent you from having the ability to look back at what happened and turn it into learning or turn it into positivity.
But that's an everyday. That's in people's everyday thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what it is, that's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
If you're really, especially with hunting, with how, expensive it is and how dedicated people are to it and how important it is and how people are trying to get across, like, it's actually a good thing and stuff. I think people need to take the time to, and that's why asking these questions and listening to podcasts and reading books and articles and stuff is super important, to really understand and get the advice that they need to have a successful hunt.
Yeah, but don't be afraid to just go collect experience.
Yeah.
Like, go live in it. And same thing with shooting. Like, there's a bunch of tools and apps and, books written about how wind affects bullets.
Oh, absolutely.
But if it's windy, dude, stay home. and they don't want to go shooting it. It's like, you want to learn how to shoot in the wind, go shoot when it's windy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to learn how wind
And
is on the
then that's
mountain.
when all the animals are going to come out because they're never hearing a gunshot, so they're going to be out all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are getting good. I like this. Okay, some tips for hunting areas you have not scouted before. So you're brand new. You're brand new to the show. How are you going to hunt there?
I mean, you just got to go out and explore it.
Step one, out of the truck. That's
Get
what we're
out
doing.
of the truck.
Get out of the damn truck.
We're going to have
Be quiet.
be quiet. We're
quiet.
going to have some good boots on our feet.
Watch your six. Good boots. Excellent advice.
The typography. Know where you're going.
Don't get lost.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
mean,
that's my rule
educate-
number 1 is don't get lost.
I
Yeah.
feel like, again,
No, it's not.
educate yourself on
That's rule number 2.
like, where am I going? Like, what's the area? What's around? Like, I don't know. But that's me. I have to
put
be
some
like
markers down, explore.
Look at a map.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Start hiking.
Make it be a whole experience, not just a
Have water, hydrate.
very important.
Yeah.
Have some snacks, some fuel.
Yep.
I'm not great at drinking water. I should get better at that.
We're great at drinking wine, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it. So, Desiree Joyce, former Marine, asks where to learn to shoot a bow as an adult. Important question. And
Because I want
You
I
wanna
would
know, too.
love to know this. I
Yeah.
would love to know this too because I think because I have no idea where do you go.
I have a great answer for you. I think I have an answer for Desiree, but I'm curious, Aisling, what your advice is.
Yeah, so I have a friend who's been shooting a bow since he was like yay high. And I just think it's one of those things where you got to start young. And if you don't, you probably just were never granted the skills.
Oh, I disagree so hard.
I'm sure you do, and that's totally fine. But I mean, because then all you're going to hear about is like the complaining, my hands hurt, the blisters, the calluses, blah, blah, blah. I give up. I can't do it. I can't get it right because that's what adults do. We give up so easily. But as kids, no, we're determined to get it and do it and keep it going and get that skill. And I just think that it's a, especially bow hunting, that's a tough one. I think.
Well, we're just talking about shooting a bow to start with.
Well, yes, correct. But I don't know. I think it's doable. I just think it's for the.
So, Caitlin, you have a great resource in the group New England Sportswomen that Jill LaPlante runs over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because those women know everything that there is to know in the area. And you've got a group that can speak your language, can help you out, and get you pointed in the right direction, show you which pro shops to go to, where the ranges are, how to get into equipment. Hey, I've got this, I don't use it anymore, it'll save you some money, stuff like that. And I think those groups probably exist everywhere. So
Yeah.
that's an easy enough thing to search for.
And social media has those groups like Facebook groups
Yeah.
or whatever where
Yeah.
you can, get into those. That makes sense.
So,
Yeah. I guess it's like I want to try it. It's like I just want to try the experience of it. I just think it'd be cool because I also think it's a test of like your strength and your body.
it's really cathartic. Like, as you draw a bow and you add tension to that tool, and then you use your eye and your body and all of your muscles and all of your focus and intent to find a spot on the target, and you go through the mental process that you've learned of taking the shot, and then you release that arrow, and all of that energy goes forward. Whether you hit the target or not, it's a release for you, and it feels really good to shoot a bow. And the history of mankind includes archery. Like, we are all descended from archers. And if it weren't for the bow, we wouldn't be here. None of us.
Right.
And it is so embedded in society that all the directions that we have are indicated with an arrow. Like, of all the
Absolutely.
shapes we could have picked to show a direction, we choose the arrow.
Yep.
Like, it's pointed the way for all of us for a long time. So I really encourage people to try archery. It's not hard to try. you can swing by a bow shop and say, hey, can I try shooting a bow? And they'll be like, heck yeah, and it can be as simple as that. You can do it on your lunch break and see if you like it or not. But I highly recommend going to a pro shop, not like a Bass Pro or Cabela's or something like that. Like try and find a pro shop and they'll get you started out right. So that's my advice to Desiree as well. Okay, can you go into some detail on when it's okay to make noise in the elk woods versus not?
Oh. When can you break the silence?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the first one to break it.
Yeah.
I need someone else to break it.
Okay.
Like today in the truck when everyone was like being silent, I was like.
So you can break the silence when you make the kill. And then you celebrate.
Okay. I think you're really onto something there, Caitlin. I think that if an elk makes a noise and then you make a noise, that's probably the correct cadence. I think you're really onto something. And if an elk is dead quiet and then you make a noise, you've lost the initiative there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's, either if you're hunting with someone else or let the animal break the silence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't, it's kind of like fishing, right? You're supposed to be quiet when you fish.
Yes.
You don't talk when you fish, so.
I don't even think you're supposed to breathe when you fish because you're supposed to be like the fish, and they don't breathe underwater.
You've got to hold your mouth right.
Yeah, you're just not supposed to breathe.
So you probably don't spend a lot of time fishing.
No, absolutely not.
Fairly short amounts of time.
Yeah.
Understandable if you're not breathing. Okay, tag strategies in Oregon. This has been the hardest part for this individual. Man, oh man. Do you have any advice for tag strategies?
So what is the tag situation in Oregon?
Well, you have to apply for tags.
Okay.
And every year that you don't get your first choice, you get a preference point. And most of the tags go to the people who have the most preference points. So the longer you apply, the higher your odds are of getting a specific tag.
And so how long has this person been doing it?
Maybe a long time. Like there's some people who have been applying for elk tags for over 20 years without drawing one.
And they can't get one. Is it is there any situation where they can do like family lotteries?
You can
maybe up their odds?
Yeah. You can,
or like a group of friends or something like that.
You can apply as a
where
party.
they don't hunt, and so maybe his chances go up.
Yeah, you
hers.
You can apply as a party, and then however many points your party has gets divided equally amongst everybody. So it doesn't necessarily up your odds unless the people in your party have more preference points than you do. So that would be a strategy, is to find somebody with a bunch of preference points.
Yeah.
Who's willing to split them with you in a party, and then you provide something to them in return. Like, hey, I'll bring my horses and mules in here, or I'll take care of all the food for camp, or I'll take care of all the meat processing if we get something.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there's some
do an
trading
even
to be done
trade.
there. Yeah, so find somebody with a bunch of preference points. That'd be one way.
I mean, I haven't really heard about a lot of tags in New Hampshire.
Well, you can buy
I'm sure there's some.
You can buy your deer tags over the counter, but like moose tags are really limited. I think there's only like 20 moose tags in New Hampshire.
Yeah. That is. I did hear about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's also kind of like our state. Well, it's really Maine's state.
And there's just not a lot of them left in New Hampshire, so
no, there's not.
Gotta
preserve them.
Limit it. My advice on this one is not to get drawn into tags that are difficult to draw. Like, find units that you can draw without very many preference points. Focus on those so that you can draw them more often, because the more often you hunt those areas, the better you'll get at hunting them. And even these units that are easy to draw, they also hold animals, and some of them, if you're a trophy hunter, can be really big animals. If you're a meat hunter, you can find animals to be able to provide food for yourself and your family. But I would recommend staying away from, spending years collecting preference points to get a hard to draw tag. Just focus on tags that are easy.
Can they
get more experience?
Would it be beneficial for them to try and get a tag in another state for that animal?
Yeah.
Could they try and go into that?
Sure. Look at a state where you can get it easier.
Yeah.
Like Colorado, you know, you can
Yeah.
get tags pretty easily in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
It
you
costs
also
a little bit more money, but
Yeah. But they're also buying the experience
Yep.
too.
Yep.
So that might
Yeah.
be
Do you-
and get a group of people to go with them to help with costs or something.
do you also think it's almost like that? This is like the elite tag that you need to get, and so people are kind of like, because it's limited, not everyone can get it.
right.
There's that attraction
Yeah.
to it.
You think it must be better because it's harder to get.
Right.
But that's not always true.
Right.
Cognitive dissonance is what that's called. Okay. Last question, and we've beaten this bush a little bit, but how do you find elk in a completely new unit? So again, we're brand new to the area. How do we find an elk in it?
Okay, the first thing we're doing, we're getting out of the
Getting
truck.
Get out
truck.
of the damn truck.
Yeah, that's
Get
number
out
one.
of the truck.
But I mean, honestly, we're actually going to take a few days step back from there, and we're going to do our research,
Do some e-scouting.
e-scouting, and we're going to figure it out. We're going to understand where we're going,
Make a plan.
make a plan, even though the plan may not work. Maybe have a couple plans.
Yeah. Or be prepared to think quick on your feet.
Yep. Maybe
There was a really cool like bunny going through the field hand motion that went with that.
hand gesture.
And there was the beginnings of a sound effect that went with the bunny
Yeah.
motion.
I stopped.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that. That was good.
Maybe, reaching out to some people that have hunted that area before, making some contacts out there, but then we're getting out of the truck.
Yep.
We're having solid boots, watching our six, water, and we're going for it.
We're going to do some walking, maybe sit in a chair without a podcast and
Yeah,
be
a
patient
lounger.
for a little bit.
Yeah,
Do
patient.
some glassing until your butt gets numb.
Butt gets numb, beer
Move.
gets empty.
Move a little bit, do some more glassing.
Yeah, breathing. Breathing exercises I've been learning are really relaxing, and they
So this is different
They
from
ha-
fishing.
it helps with patience. Definitely different from fishing where you have to hold your breath, but it helps with the patience situation, especially with hunting, where you're like, where are they? Like, they were just here yesterday. They're going to come back. So got to have that patience, and 5 minutes is not long enough. So you got to be prepared to hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
And if you don't get anything, willing to walk away with lessons learned.
yes, absolutely. Maybe get a journal, and at the end of the day, dear diary, I didn't get the kill, but this is what I've learned.
Ooh.
This has been astoundingly good advice for two people who have never hunted, may never hunt. This has been really good. I'm learning things. There's some things here I'm gonna apply. I thought this was just gonna be funny. This turned into a lot of good advice. I'm really appreciative of the both of you. This has been
This is
been a
really,
blast.
honestly, actually really fun.
Yeah, I agree. This was fun.
Surprisingly. Very
Well,
fun.
I'm looking forward to the rest of this event. By the time this podcast comes out, actually right when this podcast comes out, our competitors will be going to sight in their rifles and then step out in
Yes.
the course of fire.
Yeah.
And the
be epic.
next podcast
Super
you hear
excited.
is going to be about the actual Hunter Games.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to miss it because there's some really interesting people coming. I
Amazing
cannot
people.
wait to...
Amazing.
Such skill in so many
it's
fields.
people from it's huge celebrities from their industry. I mean, these people are amazing, and they're coming out here they're pumped. They are so pumped. I mean, if you follow SIG Hunting, their Instagram, it's the battles these teams are already having. It's epic.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun.
And these people are all famous, not for like TikTok or, how they look.
No, they're not me.
Like-
but yes,
These people are famous because they're the best in the world at whatever it is that they do.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got everything from skiers to snowmobilers to snowboarders to UFC fighters and football players and baseball players.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, all these tremendously talented individuals And then we've paired them up with the most skilled hunters and guides on the continent
Yes.
in teams of people who have never met before, shooting identical equipment.
Yes.
And then we're going to put them in situations that are realistic hunting scenarios where they're walking and sleeping in tents and
Being quiet and watching their
Being
six.
quiet.
hopefully they're being quiet and watching their six.
They're fueling. They're drinking water.
learning.
They're learning.
Yeah.
And you guys have spent a ton of time out on this course of fire, you know, adjusting and readjusting and like making all these changes and adapting, especially because it's been months of planning and the weather's been changing. So it's been changing because of that. And so I think it's just going to be, I mean, I'm so pumped for them they're all pumped for them to
Yes.
arrive.
Yeah.
And
They're so
the competitors'
pumped.
village with all the tents and them camping out is going to be so cool. So
Yeah.
it's going to be fun.
It's really about the experience for them coming out here and just experiencing this, meeting new people,
And they want to win.
They
like
want to
training
win.
with,
These people
training
wanna
with
win.
new
That
people.
trophy,
Oh yeah,
that trophy is epic. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're not going to tell them too much about the trophy.
no, the trophy's going to be cool.
There's a trophy.
but also because we've all been on the course of fire. How gorgeous is it?
Yeah.
It's
it
beautiful.
is-
Wildflowers. It's green.
Yeah.
I mean,
Aspens.
we talked about this. I mean, we went out there, we checked it out, and it was
I could have stayed out
I
there.
was
all-
blown away.
Yeah.
Absolutely blown away. Like there's no words to describe how
I would have been fine
gorgeous.
just staying out there. Like
Yeah.
just park the
Agreed.
truck and leave me.
Agreed.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. That's all. We're done.
This is fun.
Thanks for the
Cool.
advice. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I live in an old cabin with bad to non-existent insulation and wood heat. That cabin can see snow every month of the year and needs a good amount of firewood stacked in the woodshed to carry through the colder months. This spring, as my woodpile turned to smoke and ash, I noticed something metal pushing out of the decades of sawdust and bark. I kicked at it and unearthed a Stanley thermos. The cup was missing, and it showed more worn stainless steel than green. There were dents in the metal, and the handle looked like a puppy had chewed on it, but it still hadn't leaked the old coffee I could feel slosh inside. It took me back to memories of cutting firewood with my dad, waking up early for an elk hunt, or going out to the canyons to gather cattle. A Stanley thermos has the durability to survive whatever hard work you throw at it. You may find it carries memories as well as coffee. Learn more about their new and classic line of products at stanley1913.com or at your local sporting goods store. And catch you next week. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share the show with a friend. You can also rate the podcast and leave a review. Your support allows me to keep doing what I love, which is meeting incredible folks and sharing their stories with you. For more content and photos, follow the show on Instagram at Six Ranch Podcast or me at Six Ranch Outfitters. This episode was produced by Emily Brannigan, with original music written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch Podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Christofferson. Tune in every Monday for a brand new episode of the Six Ranch Podcast. I'll catch you next week.